Have you ever wondered why certain emotions persist despite years of self-reflection? What compels you to keep going? Why do you find yourself drawn into the same kinds of relationships with people who hurt you in familiar ways? Or why does part of you always feel either too much or not enough? These patterns don't begin in adulthood. They are echoes, deep, subtle, and enduring, originating long before we had the language to describe them. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Yet sometimes, what defines your inner life is not even memory. It is a falsehood. Not one you created, but one handed down to you, until it is brought into the light. It will quietly shape your worth, your choices, and even your sense of self. Before we begin, take a deep breath. This is more than just a video. It is a mirror. If something here resonates in your soul, consider subscribing to Golden Age Wisdom, a platform devoted to exploring the mind's hidden depths. Let's go deeper. The essence of childhood outlives the years themselves. It is not simply a stage you pass through, but a framework intricately woven into your psyche. Jung saw the child not merely as a phase of development, but as an archetype, a living symbol of memory, vulnerability, and untapped potential. For many, that child remains locked in survival mode. From our earliest moments, we adapted to the emotional climate we were born into. If love was conditional, we learned to perform for it. If feelings were dangerous, we learned to hide them. We did not reach these conclusions through reason. Our nervous systems read the world in tone of voice, in muscle tension, in the presence or absence of touch. Those sensations wrote the first script of what we had to become to feel safe. These scripts run so deep that by adulthood, they no longer feel like patterns. They feel like personality. But they are not. They are survival strategies dressed up as identity. Modern neuroscience now confirms what the child in us has always known. The brain's wiring develops in response to early relationships. A child who learns to shrink in order to avoid conflict doesn't just choose silence. They become silence. This is why healing can feel like loss. You're not simply changing behavior. You're disentangling your true self from the survival strategies that once kept you alive. Those strategies deserve respect. They mattered. But they came with a cost. To survive, we built a mask. Jung called it the persona, the version of ourselves that could be praised, accepted, or at least allowed to exist without threat. Every time we put on that mask, another part of us was sent into the shadows. Our anger, our longing, our grief, our voice. The persona is real, but it is not the whole truth. It is who we became to avoid rejection. And over time, we confuse that mask with who we are. As adults, we may be admired and respected, yet inwardly adrift, unsure who we are beneath all the appeasing, performing, and hiding. The world rewards our adaptability. The repressed child is called easygoing. The silenced one is called strong. But beneath the praise lies a tension. What looks like confidence is often a carefully constructed fear. Jung called the neglected parts of us the shadow, all that we've hidden, now seeking the light. And here, in the dark, the most corrosive lie begins to take root. It is rarely shouted or written down. It is learned in small, repeated moments. The lie is this: who you are right now is not enough to be loved. Not because someone told you outright, but because love was given with strings attached. Maybe you were celebrated only when you achieved, ignored when you were sad, punished for anger, praised only when you were quiet, compliant, invisible. And so you learned, to be safe, you must be someone else. This isn't just emotional, it's biological. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. You hesitate to speak your truth. You apologize too much, give too much, adapt too much. You chase perfection. You fear being a burden. Every reaction is a survival strategy rooted in a false idea of your worth. But that lie did not start with you. It began generations ago, passed down through families who could not meet the full humanity of a child. Now it lives in you, not just as a thought, but as an instinctive way of moving through a world that never felt safe for your authentic self. Here's what's rarely said. Healing is not glamorous. It's raw. It's the grief of realizing who you had to become just to survive. It's meeting the inner child and whispering, "I will not abandon you again." If this resonates, breathe, because here is the turning point. The goal of healing is not to fix what's broken. It is to reclaim the whole. Jung was skeptical of self-improvement as we think of it today. He spoke instead of self-recovery, the courageous return of the parts of us we left behind to survive. Here lies the paradox. The person you want to become is the person you were before you had to perform. Individuation, in Jung's words, is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming real. It's turning toward the angry child, the gentle one, the wild one, the scared one. Not to fix them, but to say, "I see you. You belong here." These are not flaws. They are tools. Every emotion you've buried holds wisdom. Every uncried tear carries a memory. Every suppressed rage marks a boundary. We don't heal by erasing these parts. We heal by bringing them home. Even if the world doesn't notice, you will know. And that is enough. Every time you choose to be present instead of performing. Every time you let yourself feel, say no, rest, speak up, or simply exist, you disrupt the cycle. You begin to dismantle the lie, not through argument, but through being. The moment you trust your own truth over your conditioning, the lie loses power. And you see clearly, your worth was never something to earn. It was always yours. The lie says your worth is conditional. Your existence says otherwise. Let that truth land. If this touched something in you, don't silence it. Share in the comments which part spoke to you. Your words may be the mirror someone else needs. If you value deep, foundational personal growth, subscribe to Golden Age Wisdom. We are here not for surface-level change, but to help you remember who you truly are. Wholeness is your birthright, and you have carried it all along. Thank you for being here. We'll meet again in the next.